What's up, guys? It's Matthew back, and we are here with another episode of the Best Zombies map. Now, today, we have finished with round 1 of the Best Zombies map, and we have a 2-way tie for the competitor for Nacht. Okay, so the losing map with the highest amount of points, is going against Nacht, but we have a tie for that. We have Shadows of Evil versus 5. Now, that's going to be today's video. Shadows of Evil versus 5. The winner of this is going to compete against Nacht for the finish of round 1. So yeah, just to recap, so the losing map with the highest amount, we had a 2-way tie. So we're comparing Shadows of Evil and 5 for Nacht. But let's just get right into it, as usual with gameplay. Now, 5 does okay with this. It's better to play solo, definitely, because you have more areas to go in. I think it's more fun, just better on solo. But co-op is doable. Like with 4 players, you can sort of go at it. It's not as good as solo because you don't have as many places to train, but it's still good, fun to play, pretty cool features. But I think Shadows of Evil does way better with this. It has more variety. Like, you can play by yourself, you can play with a team, you can just do a whole bunch of things. It's good for more advanced players, but basic players can do it too. It's not too bad. So I went with 2 to 5. And 5 to Shadows of Evil. Next is training spots. Now, 5 has a good training spot on solo. It has the sort of middle area. I'm talking about down in the second level of the place. That's the best area on 5. Shadows of Evil has more, like, you can go in the rift, you can go at the junction, you can sort of go in the canals. I like a spot over there by the Ruby Rabbit. Overall, I think Shadows of Evil does a better job than 5, but both do a pretty good job when it comes to that. So I went with 2 to 5, 3 to Shadows. Next is difficulty level. So difficulty level. So 5 is a very, very hard map. It takes a lot of skill, definitely. If you're playing with 4 players or really anything other than solo, very hard because you don't have many training spots. You're pretty limited on weapons. But solo isn't. It's easier, but it's not easy, but it's easier. But Shadows of Evil provides a lot more balance, in my opinion. It's very, very, very close to the not too easy, not too hard. I would say maybe a little bit on the harder side, just because the Margwas are pretty annoying. But other than that, it's a very balanced map. So I went with 1 to 5, 4 to Shadows. Next is innovation. Now, 5 didn't really bring that much, except it brought the Pentagon Thief, and it brought the special drop with it, the Bonfire, which we all know is amazing. It makes Pack-a-Punch 1,000 points. Very, very good drop. And then it also brought some other things like the Winter's Howl, which, no one really likes, but it's something new. Shadows had the whole ritual system with the Pack-a-Punch. It had the Apothecary Servant. It had the new characters. It just had a whole bunch of things. It had the plants. It had the random perk locations. It had the different areas. It was just very, very innovative. Starting on started Black Ops 3. A lot of very cool stuff. So I went with 3 to 5, 7 to Shadows when it comes to that. Next is perks. Now, 5 didn't bring any new perks. Shadows brought Widow's Wine. So 2-0 for Shadows. Next is wonder weapons. Now, 5 brought the Winter's Howl, which we all know is a pretty terrible wonder weapon. It was also on Verrucht, but I think it came first on 5. But Shadows brought the whole Apothecary Servant with its upgrade. Very, very cool. So much better than the Winter's Howl. I had to give the Winter's Howl something because it was new. So I went with 1 to 5, 2 to Shadows. Next is bosses. Now, Shadows didn't really, like, it had the bosses, but they weren't really cool. They weren't too innovative. They weren't really, it had the Margwa, so not too good. But 5 had the Pentagon Thief, which is terrible, but he gave you the bonfire, so I had to go with 2 to 0 to 5. Next is colors. Now, Shadows of Evil, I would argue, is one of the best looking maps in the whole entire game. It's just all the whole city feel, the jazzy, the 1920s feel. It looks really, really cool. Very, very visually appealing. 5 did okay. The starting room looks okay, but down in the lower areas, it doesn't really look that nice. Very gray, depressing, dark. So I went with 1 to 5, 4 to Shadows. And lastly, we have storyline. Now, 5 had the new, both maps had different characters. 5 had the whole presidential crew. Pretty cool, I will say, but there wasn't really an Easter egg on that map. Very cool, but there wasn't really an Easter egg. But Shadows had the whole rituals with the new characters sort of linked into Mob of the Dead. It had the whole, the ritual system and the whole Easter egg. Very, very expansive. Definitely beat 5. So I went with 3 to 5, 5 to Shadows of Evil. And that concludes it for this video. We have our final score of 15 to 5 and 32 to Shadows of Evil. Now, Shadows of Evil will move on to face Nacht Der Untoten for round 1. So I was going to tell you guys a little bit. So we have that this is episode 12. Next episode with Nacht will be 13. 14, I think I have a little explanation video I recorded. 15, I'm pretty sure, is we're featuring this the first time I'm mentioning this, I'm pretty sure, but we're gonna have a wild card episode. So 5 will not be included in this because it had a chance to beat Shadows and it failed. Nacht also, if it Nacht or Shadows, if either of them fails, then they won't have a chance, depending on who wins the Nacht and Shadows. But every other losing map will have a chance to compete. So basically, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm basically just going to be ranking them. I'm just going to be giving them a number, 1 out of 10, just based on just how everyone likes it, just the features it brought, just on a bunch of different things. That's going to be episode 15, and then 16 will be our drawing for round 2. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Come back for episode 13, Nacht Der Untoten versus Shadows of Evil, and I will see you in the next episode.